So thanks to the massive support on the previous one, I feel like you guys deserve another video. So this is 7 more beginner-friendly platinums, and again in no particular order, I present to you the first game. Kicking things off with A Way Out, a co-op only game which in turn makes this slightly more difficult than anything else on the list. However, with a partner, this incredible game is one of the most enjoyable shortwave experiences that the co-op genre has to offer. Co-op games are few and far between these days, so it's genuinely unique to see these types of games still being released. Following their breakout from prison, you play as Vincent and Leo, who work together to escape jail and then further to take down a rival that they both share. The story has a good amount of twists and turns, and the gameplay is quite engaging, also focusing heavily on teamwork and solving problems together, which would be impossible alone. The humour is fun and the gameplay is entertaining, with many little mini-games and short side activities which usually result in trophies as well. This game definitely has its kinks, and it's been a minute since it came out, so I can't really fault it for some small performance issues and also occasionally cringy dialogue. If you like co-op games, then check this out, and if this one's for you, I also highly recommend It Takes Two from the same studio. Both are fantastic games, with It Takes Two being the longer experience. The Last of Us Part 1 is a remake from The Last of Us on the PlayStation 3. This version offers a significantly easier trophy experience from the previous game. You play as Joel, who is tasked with transporting a young girl called Ellie, as she seems to be the only one alive immune to the infection that's destroying the entire world. This version removed the online component, which is the big stumbling block for the remastered version, as the trophies just take so long to get, making the game feel like a drag. This time, there are no difficulty trophies, which may be a relief to some, as the hardest difficulty can be quite punishing if you're not careful. Whilst I personally don't think the gameplay is anything to write home about, the game is really about the story for me. Listening to Ellie's terrible jokes and watching her and Joel bond is such a great ride. This also includes the Left Behind DLC, which is packaged in and is necessary to complete the trophy list. Overall, is a DLC well worth playing too. It's very rare to see a terrible first-party Sony game, and this one is no exception. Far Cry 3 for me is probably the only one I truly enjoyed, and for good reason too. At the time of the release, this game felt completely fresh and had so much fun. You play as a tourist who has a skydiving accident with the rest of his group of friends and finds himself locked in a war across the island to find his friends and his brother, who have been captured by the island militia run by a tyrant called Vaas. Vaas is literally insane, and man, this guy is probably one of the gaming's most iconic villains. The gameplay loop is pretty simple here, mostly seeing you take over territories on the island, hunting, and there are also quite a decent amount of collectibles too, but you can buy maps to make everything show up for you. The gunplay hasn't aged the greatest, but it's not off-putting by any means, and it's still a solid shooter. If you do decide to go for this one, just be wary that the franchise, in my opinion, sees a steady decline after this game. Stray is a game about a cat. That's all you really need to know. Well, not really, but I seriously love cats though, and this game puts you in the paws of a cute and curious kitty. So what more could you ask for? The gameplay is actually quite fun. You platform various smaller obstacles and things that only cats can traverse, which makes some of the exploring enjoyable and makes you think a little bit more about how a cat would get around. It's a short game, and most of the trophies are fairly simple cat-related actions, like meowing 100 times or scratching rugs in every level. There are 2 trophies that people can struggle with. The first is the speed run, however this is usually easy after one playthrough, so play the game first before you attempt this and you shouldn't have much trouble. There's also another trophy where you're being chased by robots and can't be touched. It might take a few tries, but you can reload a checkpoint close by, so just go for this on your non-speed run attempt. Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice is a third-person hack-and-slash game which will have the player fight in the hordes of the Norse. Currently, this game's rot system of Hellblade is still in question. During the first quarter of the game, you're introduced to the rot with a threatening message. It states that continuous death throughout the game will result in your saved data being erased, forcing you to start the journey again. However, many players have reported that this is simply just a tease from the developers to build some sort of dread during combat, and that the rot is nothing more than a story aspect. Whether or not this game contains a permadeath feature is still unknown. Anyways, due to Hellblade's simple trophy list, you only need to play the game once to achieve all of its trophies. Apart from the single collectible trophies, all the other trophies will be earned by the normal progression of the story, which I found to be very interesting indeed, delving into the topic of mental health to present itself in a unique manner. A good game even for veterans, so go check it out. Until Dawn is an interactive horror drama game developed by Supermassive Games. You assume control of 8 young adults who have to survive on Blackwood Mountain when their lives are threatened. The The game features a butterfly effect system in which you must make choices that may change the story. All of the playable characters can survive or die, depending on the choices that you make. You explore the environment from a third-person perspective and find clues that may help you solve the mystery. In your first playthrough, you want to make sure to rescue everybody. Some of your choices will lead to a direct death, and other choices will lead to an imminent death in a later episode. All of those can be avoided if you choose the correct choices. And in this run is where you'll gather all of the collectibles. You can get the remaining endings by replaying episodes. In order to kill everyone and get all of the decision-based trophies, you want to start up the game again on episode number 6. This one is definitely a game I would recommend, so check it out if you haven't already. Sleeping Dogs is criminally underrated and another classic from a previous era that still holds up incredibly well today. You play as Wei Shen, an undercover cop sent to infiltrate the Sun On Yi Triad organization. Wei is a highly skilled and highly trained martial artist, making for some fun beatdowns and great fistfights. The story really touches on themes of loyalty and betrayal, making this an epic story from start to finish. The trophies are mostly for 100% completion of all the cases and events around the map, and you can also gather collectibles, which can be pinned to the map via dating certain women around the city. The game feels a lot like GTA Hong Kong, and I personally like this game a lot more than most of the open world games with any of the similar gameplay styles. Featuring all of the DLC too, this definitive edition is the way to go. This is a series that could do with a sequel, and I can't recommend this one enough. Go play it. And now it's time for some honourable mentions. I mentioned all these games in my 30 Platinums in 30 days video, so I won't be going through why each game is here. If you want to see more about those, then go check that video down in the link below. Jak and Daxter is a classic PS2 platformer. Tome is a delightful photography indie game. Reverie is a Zelda-inspired RPG. And Tekken 7 is the easiest fighting game platinum. So that's all from me today, Trophy Hunters. Hopefully one of these games piques your interest. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button so I can keep bringing you consistent Platinum Trophy content directly to your feed. Take care guys, Gaspard out.